Hey guys, welcome to the F and S Suicide slash Mental Health Issues live chat. I am Francois T, and I am very honoured to be joined by my wonderful Sydney correspondent, Sarah. Good evening, Sarah.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh,
So tonight's topic is, before we go any further, tonight's topic is a rather serious one. And I have said this in the disclaimer below, and I've also said in the chat, I'm going to repeat it again. I just ask that everyone be respectful because of how serious the topic is. We do understand that some people can also be triggered by this, so just trigger warnings out there for everyone. But let's all be supportive of each other during what is going to be a very tough chat. Okay. Well, if you're in the room, say hi, and we'll
yes, this
definitely.
was a follow-up from 13 Reasons Why, wasn't it? So
Yes.
obviously in that show, it does tackle things like depression, abuse, suicide, and stuff like that. So this chat was done as a follow-up to sort of talking and chatting about that show, and we thought, let's have another chat about it and just see how we go.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right. Um, so yes. I
Yeah.
see that Lady Jazz has joined us in the room. Good evening, Lady Jazz, or it's possibly
Hi,
afternoon where you
Lily.
are. uh, that's evening over here.
Yes,
um,
quite late in the
mhm,
evening, nighttime actually here in Australia. Um,
yes.
yeah, if anyone does join and happens to want to share anything, obviously let us know. If you don't want anything read out, just comment
Yeah.
before you go ahead with anything. And if you don't want to share, then that's fine. If not many people turn up, then we'll just chat about things and see how we go. Yeah, just go from
Yeah.
there.
Absolutely right. All right. So, where does one begin a chat about suicide? Um,
Look, a lot of people in the world today are dealing with mental health issues. It's such a common thing, really, that people are dealing with mental
yeah,
health issues and stuff like that. So I guess, yeah, I guess that's where we're going to start is that a lot of people are dealing with things like mental health problems these days. And it's just, it's really horrible. But, I think that if people talk about it more, it will bring awareness to it.
mm,
People might feel more comfortable opening up about things, getting the ball rolling with chatting about it, because I think that people need to talk about these things and bring it out into the open more um, to sort of tackle these issues more. So, yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
large introduction to this.
Yes. Now, obviously, people deal with suicide in different ways, but two ways that I'm thinking of right away that it can be dealt with is directly yourself or indirectly through someone else.
Yeah,
Um, I know of people who have personally been suicidal. I know of people who have known others that have been suicidal and that have had to be there to support them. I personally have been in both situations. If you have been in either of those situations, then certainly feel free to let us to give us your input for sure. But once again, as Sarah was saying before, as more people are joining, and I think it's worth reiterating, if you'd like to leave a comment and you don't want us to read it out, just let us know that you don't want us to read it out. But otherwise, we will be sharing things here during this chat today, so just a reminder to be respectful of that. But I think it is important to note that whether it is yourself who's going through it or someone you know that is going through it, it doesn't necessarily make it any easier
no,
either
not
way.
at all. Um, yeah, not at all. And it's no secret that I've dealt with a family member attempting suicide. So guys, if you're listening, and that is quite hard for you to hear. But yeah, it's no secret to a lot of people that know me that I dealt with that. I went through that a few years ago, and it was a really, really rough time on our family. Yeah, so like whether you're personally going through it, you're the one experiencing suicidal thoughts, or you have a family member or a friend or someone that you know that is experiencing suicidal thoughts or has actually attempted suicide. It's hard. It's hard for anyone dealing with that.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly right. So we have our first comment for the night. Lady Jazz is saying, my biggest fear is that mental health is going to become a part of our evolution and become implanted in our biology. We can only stop this by directly addressing the issue publicly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
completely agree.
said, Jazz, it's something that is becoming more common these days for people to deal with mental health issues. Um, and as I said before, and this is what you said, is that it does need to be addressed publicly. It does need to be spoken about. The stigma needs to be taken away from it. You know, it's not a dirty subject. It's hard, it's horrible, but it's still something that needs to be brought to the front and spoken about. Even just a general little chat like this, where we're not going too much into the details, but we are still touching on the subject. It's a positive
Absolutely.
step, talking about it and getting it out there.
And I also, just while I'm thinking about this, is just off the top of my head, want to make the point that um, suicidal threats should be taken seriously. I unfortunately know of people who will mention in passing that someone said they're suicidal and they're saying this to get attention. And this really upsets me because you never know what's going on with anyone that is suffering from suicide, and not taking that seriously could be a very big mistake. Now, obviously, there are a number of factors to take into it. I'm just saying, like, brushing it off without even having another thought and just saying, oh, they're not even being serious, they're just kidding or whatever. You don't know. And if someone is um, going to, step outside of their shell just for long enough to tell you that something is wrong, my advice would be to take a moment to sit with that or with that person rather than just fob it off. As I say, I have seen personally people who will just shove it aside and say, no, they're just saying this.
I
You don't know if it is or
I
not.
would add as a little extra note that you're not a super being. Like, it's hard to take on someone else's mental health problems, and you shouldn't have to take it so much on board that it's actually affecting you mentally. I think all you can do is really listen, and then maybe direct the person to someone or something that might better be able to help them. So, like, I just wanted to reiterate the point that as much as it's good to, actually listen and take on board when someone is coming out and saying these things, don't take it so much on board that it is affecting you mentally,
Oh, yes, I completely agree.
really dragging you down, because that is not something that unless you are a mental health professional, it's not
Yeah.
really something that you're going to be able to help a whole lot with, other than listening and just reassuring that person that you care about them and you love them and you're there for them. But you can't take it solely on board, I think, is my
No,
only.
and absolutely, I completely agree with you. This is something that I've had to come to realize myself this year. Been dealing with someone who's gone through some suicidal issues, and I had to put myself first, and it was a major struggle for me to do so. But in the end, yes, I did have to learn that lesson. I think what I'm trying to say in this example, I'm actually talking about a situation of family members, especially if it's like parents and children. Um, I don't think parents, so maybe I should be specific, I don't think parents should be very quick to fob off if a child says that they are suicidal.
Yeah,
Suicidal.
exactly.
So yeah, maybe I should have been a little more specific there. Sorry, guys.
That's good to add in the other side. There's two sides to that kind of thing.
Mm,
Yeah, I wouldn't be so quick, and especially because it's so hard to bring up these topics with family members or friends or whatever. So, as you said, for someone to actually come out and express how they're feeling in that nature,
yeah,
that would have been really hard for them to do. I know what it's like to, go through the anxiety and the depression of having to talk to people around me about what I'm experiencing mentally. It's really hard. So, yeah.
It's definitely not easy.
No, it's definitely not easy.
Just get to a few more comments. Lady Jazz says mental health affects absolutely everyone. We've already read that, I think. Have we read that? Absolutely everyone is a product of other people's hate. Ignorance, in my opinion, if we knew the implication and effects, we could be taking the first steps to a better life. It definitely, I feel like there is ignorance when it comes to the situation. Yeah, absolutely agree. Hi, Angels. Yes, good one, Sarah. Hi, Angels. Thank you for joining us.
If you have anything to contribute, just comment below and add whatever you'd like to the subject.
Yeah. And just once again, reiterating what Sarah said earlier, if there's anything you don't want read out, please let us know before the actual comment. And we will take it into consideration and give you some feedback, but we'll leave out specifics. But otherwise, yeah, feel free to comment. Lady Jazz says, because it affects everyone due to insecurity as well, we almost deflect when someone comes to us about their mental illness. It takes special people like this chat to deal with it. Thank you, Lady Jazz. Yeah, look, I completely agree. For me, it was the opposite. I felt like I always had to take it on board. And I'm only, as I say, just recently realizing that sometimes I need to deflect a little bit. So there is that medium, I think.
Yes, exactly. There are some times where it is, there's only so much you can do as a person, as a friend, as a family member. And in that case, like, you might have to take a step back a little bit. And that's not to say that you don't care or you're not concerned about their welfare, but it's a hard situation. And I wouldn't I wouldn't judge anyone for saying, look, I care about this person, but I just need to take a bit of a step back. So I just wanted to add in that side for people that are also dealing with people, like dealing with that kind of thing.
No, absolutely. Annabelle Foster is joining us. Hi, Annabelle Foster. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Annabelle.
Annabelle Foster says something, but I've just lost it. One moment. She says, people often forget that mental health issues are physical illnesses. They literally biologically alter the body through hormones and within the brain chemically. Even if it is induced by experiences in life, opposed to when it just happens, whether that is because of genetics or whatnot, the experiences people have will physically alter the body too.
Yes, it's true. Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I completely agree. Yeah, definitely. Need to keep that in mind.
I think that
Sorry.
whatever affects the mind affects the body, and whatever affects the body affects the mind. It sort of all, goes hand in hand. So
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Of
We are, which is really good. People are being really active. So once again, I also just want to remind you, so people that are here generally come to a lot of our chats anyway, and so we're all very respectful anyway. But I just want to say, it should go without saying, but just saying it anyway, that because this is a very serious topic and it's very serious for some people, just to remember to be respectful in this chat. Of others and not to be judgmental. We want to have a very open discussion here today.
Yeah, but otherwise, give us your thoughts, give us your opinions, tell us, what you think about the subject as a whole, and yeah.
Absolutely right. Can you see the comments yourself, Sarah, or no?
I can. Angel said, lunch break. I wanted to add, much like Jazz said, mental health and severe depression / suicidal tendencies affect everybody and often affects somebody's close friends and or family severely.
Yeah.
Obviously very true. Annabelle Foster
Absolutely.
said, and completely agree, people need to take people more seriously. Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
As I said, it's or as we both said, it's a really, really hard thing for people to talk about, but it needs to be spoken about a lot more than what it is.
Yes.
Even now, I think
Very
it's a
much.
subject that's being spoken about a lot more, but there's still a lot of stigma around it, and you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's still a long way to go. I think in Western culture there are taboos placed on certain subjects, and I feel like the discussion of suicide certainly is one of them, and
mental
it
health,
shouldn't be.
mental health in general is one of those
Yeah.
subjects that's taboo or like has a stigma surrounding it that, you know, it's it's really irritating actually. But yeah, so
Absolutely.
yeah. Sorry, next comment. Angel said, I feel
Oh,
there should
yep.
be more discussion and potentially support groups that people could attend in a group so the sufferer and also their close family, for group therapy slash discussion.
Yeah.
Totally like of anything like that wasn't, yeah, just like a sort of general environment where you could go and meet up with people and discuss these things calmly and sort of talk about experiences and just know that there are other, because you know, especially when you're like a teenager, and I'm not saying that people of all ages don't need this, but I feel like when I was a teenager and I started um, suffering from mental health, you know, depression, anxiety, I felt like, I mean, anyone that deals with mental health problems, depression, and all that feel like they're the only person in the world dealing with it at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, especially as a young person, I really wish that I just had that support system of people where you can go and know that you're not the only one experiencing these things,
Yeah.
and
I
really be able to connect with people. I mean, it's not the greatest thing to connect with people over, but I think it would be really uplifting in a way.
Oh no, I completely agree with you. I mean, you're absolutely right. Like when you go through things like this, I mean, not just suicide, but as you say, depression, anxiety, other things like that as well. You do feel like you're the only person. If there was someone else there or a group of people there that understood, how different it would be. I think anyone who's gone through depression and suicide, if they take themselves back to that moment in their minds and think about how different things would have been if they had, you know, a group of people who could relate and understand because they're all sort of going through the same thing, I think it would have made a major difference.
You know
For
what I
sure.
loved the idea of? I always loved the idea of having a group kind of uh, setting like that, like we were just speaking about, but like doing like art therapy or things where you could, um, you know, do art or music or something that was artistic to let out your emotions in a group of
Yeah.
other people that dealing with
Yeah.
things. I think that would be cool. To be honest, I think they should do that more.
Yeah, me
Um,
too.
it's a weird thing to get excited about because it's a horrible thing to have to, you know, that we need to do these things in the first place. But I just think art and things like that would be so uplifting for a bunch of people to
Yeah.
get together and go, we are really screwed up. Let's do some art and chat about it.
Yeah. And I mean, it's. I don't know if it's still the same now, but certainly, I don't want to say back in my day. I'm not that old yet, but
Yeah.
back when I was going through it, it was looked upon as this is a bad thing. You're a bad person. You're doing the wrong thing. There's no sort of. I don't want to say there's no understanding, but it's almost like you're being treated as though you that people don't understand at all what's going on, and they sort of just go, you're wrong, you're doing the wrong thing, and worst comes to worst, we're going to ship you off somewhere because you are going through something different that
Well,
I don't
exactly.
understand.
And I actually wanted to bring this up. I
Hmm.
think nothing wrong with you if you deal with depression, anxiety, other mental health issues, suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
You're not defective. You weren't like, you know, something didn't break inside of you, and you know, you're dealing with things. You're struggling, and that's the point. It's simply you are struggling, but you're not, you know, broken in the sense of like there's nothing wrong with you. Like I wouldn't want anyone to make someone else feel like just because they're struggling
Yeah.
that they're screwed up or something and that they've just done something wrong. That's not what I
Exactly.
like. because that's not true.
No, and it doesn't help either, because even if you deal with it or say that you've dealt with it or whatever, if that's the sort of environment you're dealing with, then you haven't really had a chance to deal with it. It's more you're shoving something aside without dealing with it because you're being led to believe that this is wrong and you need to start doing the right thing. So it
Yeah.
doesn't help. It's counterproductive.
Wanted to talk about this whole idea that you can just think away your depression and mental health problems. So you can just think happy thoughts and you're all good. No, you
No.
cannot do that. Okay. It is a chemical imbalance in your brain as well as many other factors playing into the situation. And simply, I mean, I do think that adding positive kind of mantras or positive things into your daily life might help to a degree, but it's not going to take it away. Um, so, yeah, if someone tells you to just be positive and be happy and smile and you'll be okay, no, that's not how it works. You know,
No.
if you are seriously struggling with mental health problems, do go talk to someone and actually discuss your options.
Hmm.
Because I can guarantee just trying to laugh it away is, I mean, have a laugh, please have a laugh, because
Oh, yeah.
that will be a positive thing, but you know, it's not going to completely take it away, and you do still need
No.
someone.
No, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, for those who are saying, smile, be happy, and they'll fix everything, I feel like saying to those people, yeah, it'll fix everything for you,
Mm.
for that person who suggested it.
Everyone is different in relation to what works for them.
Yeah,
Um,
true.
you know, and it's always going to be different for different people. So that's the point of going and talking to a professional, for example, or talking to family and friends, or you know,
Absolutely.
reading up about things on the internet and figuring out what your best options are, because yeah, it's always going to be different. Um, we'll just get back to the comments because there's quite a
Sure.
few.
Oh,
Um,
excellent. Yay. Thanks, guys.
I have to find the spot again. Lady Jazz said depression happens when the neurotransmitter stops working, when dopamine can pass through our brains, it reduces our serotonin levels, causing sadness, anxiety, etc.
Mhm.
Yeah,
True.
that's true. So as I said, it's a chemical imbalance. Um, it's not just you're being negative. Like there's a lot more to depression and mental health problems.
Yeah.
Lady Jazz also said internal therapy for me worked wonders. I never saw any help outside of my bedroom in ways that helped me. In ways it helped, in ways it caused some problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I did some internal therapy too, and by that I mean like I went within. I'm spiritual, so I kind of took a spiritual path with things. But that I want to reiterate, and we said this before. That's my way of handling it at times. But then other people do need to seek professional help
Yeah.
as the answer.
I think promoting that professional help is available is the best
Mm,
thing that we can do, because for some, we've said this before, and we'll certainly say it a few times in this chat. Different things certainly work for different people, and as Lady Jazz even said, in some ways it helped, in some ways it caused more problems. I feel like sometimes when you're in that situation, you don't feel like there's anyone you can talk to, and doing some internal internal therapy can really help. But yeah, it can also cause more problems as well. But yeah, one of the things that I love the most about the fact that we're doing this is just getting it out there, like that there are options for people.
options.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Thanks for that,
Um,
Lady Jazz. Much appreciated.
Yeah. Lady Jazz said, because I dealt a lot of suicide and depression on my own, I had nobody to turn to. I was completely lonely, and because of that, I developed work ethic, talent, knowledge. And even at my happiest moments of my life, I would still feel depressed. when I'm with family or friends, I would still feel lonely. Really, I have just suppressed it to a degree and allow my time to deal with that. So yeah, as you're saying, basically, you've handled it in your own way, but sometimes you still struggle with it. It hasn't necessarily gone away.
Mm.
It's kind of just been pushed back a bit.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Sorry, I was just taking a moment to sit with that. Um,
Yeah. All
yeah.
good.
I think that yeah. Sorry, I'm just reading over it again. Yeah, I don't. It takes a lot of hard work to deal with it, and I don't know if anyone truly moves past it. But I have to say that I can relate to what you're saying, Lady Jazz.
Look, there are people, Lady Jazz, that go to therapy and are on medication and have been for years and years that still struggle with depression daily.
Yeah,
So
true.
I think I'd make the point that, you know, regardless of what sort of path you take in relation to healing, it is a up and down journey. It's not linear. Like, it's going to be up and down. You're going to have moments where you're feeling good, you're working, you're doing stuff, you focus on this or that, and you're feeling all right. And then you're going to have moments where you're like, as you said, you might be around family and friends or doing something
Yeah,
else, and you feel that depression in the back of you. And I think that's what mental health problems, depression, suicidal thoughts, all that stuff is like in general. It is an up and down thing. People struggle with it for a long time. A lot of people struggle with it for a long time. And
yeah,
I guess the best that people can do is just take each day at a time in those situations. You know,
absolutely right.
I'm not sure what else you can do, but take it one step at a time, one moment, one day at a time. And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely right, Sarah.
Annabelle Foster said, Sarah, I'm going to be a music therapist and it's my dream to own my own arts therapy centre. Visual arts, dance, music, etc. For that exact reason. The arts are so healing. It speaks when words can't. Oh my goodness, I so agree, Annabelle. I honestly,
Wow.
I think that the arts should be added into any kind of therapy type thing. Like I would have benefit more from counseling if there was some sort of art therapy involved in it.
Yeah,
I think it would have taken away the
agree.
seriousness, taken away the feeling of anxiety stepping into these situations and just being able to relax and put your feelings into, expressing yourself artistically, your feelings,
Absolutely.
your emotions artistically. I think it's
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
important.
No, I completely agree, and I love that you're offering like visual as well as the performing arts side as well. So like from what I'm hearing from what you're saying, Sarah, don't correct me if I'm wrong, but you might go into like a visual side if you were to do something like that. Where for me, I'd probably jump into that performing side. So, for example, seeing you list that you would even include dance or dance, depending on how you say it.
I absolutely agree with that too. I think that dancing
Awesome.
is amazing for mental health, and whether you're letting out negative emotions or whether you're letting out happy emotions, I think that movement is good. I think that painting and drawing and singing and music is good. All the arts. So no, I think all of them would be amazing for that, and I would probably get into all of them.
Well, good on you, Annabelle Foster. If I'm ever your way, I'm definitely gonna drop by and get involved and I know maybe do a session or something.
Yeah, Annabelle,
It
look,
sounds good.
Annabelle, we'll team up in the future, right? I'll have a counseling business. No, because I always wanted to have some sort of wellness kind of center that revolves
Yeah,
around physical health and mental health and
yeah,
natural things and stuff like that. And I always wanted to incorporate similar things to what Annabelle is saying. So Annabelle, look,
yeah.
we'll just join up. create our own little thing there.
Awesome.
Lady Jazz said, Annabelle, I love that.
Yeah.
They're having a few words to each other, saying they love each other.
Lots of love going around the room. Thanks, guys.
So much love. Angel said, I have mentioned this before, but I do feel like shows such as 13 Reasons, despite being controversial, are a great way of making the discussion and awareness mainstream for things such as suicide. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
I haven't actually watched the show, so I can't really give an opinion on that, but I know the basics of what it's about, obviously. And I agree. You've watched Francois, so what are your thoughts?
I have. An awareness mainstream for things such as suicide. Yeah, I completely agree. 13 Reasons Why is a great concept for a show anyway. I enjoy it despite everything you learn. So that's good, and that gets people in. So I definitely think it's a fantastic platform to create awareness because of what they do for suicide. I completely agree. I think there need to be more shows like this. I was watching, I don't know if you guys have seen, if you have seen the show, I don't know if you've seen Behind the Reasons, which is a look behind the scenes of 13 Reasons Why. And the creators and all that were saying this is the first time that anyone has done anything like this to this extent out there on television or in as a show. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. And we definitely need more of it for sure. Hopefully, if we can get more of this to happen, then it won't be as taboo as it was. If I look at, for example, I know this is off topic, but it certainly helps to create the point. If I look at what shows are doing these days when it comes to the gay community, it's almost normalizing to see a gay person or a couple or whatever in shows now compared to what it was 5, 10, 15 years ago. If stuff like this continues and suicide can be brought up into shows, films, such a how they did it in 13 Reasons Why, I think it can only serve for a fantastic purpose and create the awareness that is needed and open up the discussion with everyone. It's filmed in such a way that this is a show that the family can watch together and pause it and stop and talk about it as a family. And it's very much needed.
Families can watch it together and then in the breaks chat about what it all means.
Exactly right.
Yeah. Before we go on, I just wanted to bring up two different types of, not suicide, but in relation to that. So the fact that there is active suicidal ideation and then there's passive suicidal ideation. And I'm not sure how I know this, but so obviously active suicidal ideation is where you take the steps to act out your suicidal thoughts. And passive suicidal ideation, which is what I deal with, is where you're having the thoughts and it's reoccurring, you're thinking about it, you're thinking about suicide, but you're not taking any steps to do anything about it. Because I personally know that that is a very final thing to do. So actually taking the steps is something that I know isn't necessary for me to do, but that doesn't stop me having the thoughts. But if you're dealing with passive suicidal ideation, don't think that it's not serious. It's still something that is scary and confusing, and something that you need to if you need to chat about it, go chat about it to someone, because even though you're not taking the steps to do anything, you don't know if things will change. Or as I said, it is just quite scary and confusing and just as serious as if it were active, if that makes sense. Is Francois still here?
Yeah, I'm still here. Sorry, I was just waiting for you to finish.
Yeah. So I'm just explaining the difference between active suicidal ideation and passive suicidal ideation. And just making the point that if you are one of those people that doesn't want to take the steps, obviously, and I don't think, but yeah, if you're one of those kind of people that has the thoughts quite often but doesn't do anything about it, don't think that it's still not serious, and that, you know, if, you know, you still talk to
Exactly.
people about it. It is normal for a lot of people to experience those thoughts and not do anything about it. I mean, anyone in both sides should talk to people about it. But yeah,
Very much
just
so.
a little
Yeah.
information there.
And just because you may be in the passive side of suicide doesn't necessarily mean that you are aware that you're on the passive side. You may be fully intending on being like active and going through it and all of that, and it just so happens that that you don't for whatever reason. It's to use the word funny is inappropriate, but I can't think of a better way to say it.
Lack of better
Sorry?
word. For a lack
For
of a
lack of
better
a better word, yeah.
word.
Suicide is a rather funny condition, and I hope that everyone understands. I'm not meaning haha humorous. Like, I mean strange. It's rather odd. There's yes, there's a lot written about it. There's a lot of theory out there, and that's good because it gives us a firmer understanding of what it's about. But everyone's experience of suicide is very different, and I don't feel like there is a, you know, here's your 1, 2, 3, take a couple of tablets and call me in the morning sort of thing. We just don't know. But I actually didn't know those terms prior to tonight, so thank you for that, Sarah. I, for one, can say I've learned something.
Look, I'm going through a few mental health pages because I suffer from mental health. A lot of my family members suffer with mental health, mental illnesses. And as I said, I've had a family member a few years ago try to commit suicide. So yeah, I've learned some of these things via these pages and stuff, and that's a good thing as well. If you do suffer from mental health issues, mental illness, suicidal thoughts, depression, anxiety, all those things, there are actually Facebook pages and groups online, especially if you're not good at talking to people face to face about these kinds of things. There are Facebook groups that you can join that are for your country or for your area. You can search them on Facebook, just, you know, just type in depression support group or suicide support group or whatever, and you will find groups that you can actually anonymously, or, you know, if you don't want it to be anonymous, vent about your feelings. You can read about other people's things. Obviously, the groups are monitored and moderated, so there are warnings and trigger warnings and stuff that are put in place and all that. So yeah, that's another option for people as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of them are pretty good. I've joined a few in my day, and I will vouch for them. Yeah, absolutely. Very, very helpful.
To figure out maybe what options you might want to explore in relation to your mental health. You can see what's worked for people and what hasn't worked and stuff like that as well, which is good.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
Good
You
advice.
have the comment section in front of you.
I do. I do.
Might
Uh,
read a few.
yeah, sure. Where are we up to? I think
Just read out Angel's comments. So Lady Jazz is
wonderful,
next.
late jazz. Yeah, the key to curing depression is firstly knowing you cannot cure it, but the knowing the importance of loving and caring is more significant to pursue. And I've just lost you, late jazz. Give me one moment, I'll be right back. But everyone's just going shum shum shum. I'm seeing there's even other people that joined the room. MC, hi. I'll get to all of you in a moment. I just need to find where you are. Here we are. Yeah. The key to curing depression is firstly knowing you cannot cure it, but knowing the importance of loving and caring is more significant to pursue. I like that, Lady Jazz. I do.
Yeah.
The worst thing about depression is that it imprints your brain, it stains your life, and for that, it's irreversible. There is no way to change your biology and no way to erase memories. That's true. That's very true.
So that you can get to a point where you are sort of dealing with it quite well. I mean, everyone is different, but you can get to a point where you are managing it and you are living the best you can with this illness. And I think that's part of it, is having to, I mean, I know this is a suicide chat in particular, but it obviously goes back to depression, anxiety, mental health problems. And I think, sort of as Jazz is saying, it's like you kind of do have to get acquainted with these things and maybe take the time to understand that it's not necessarily going to go away, but that's not a bad thing necessarily. It's more like, I'm not sure how to word this without it sounding wrong, but yeah, just getting acquainted with these things and taking the time to get to know it and figuring out how to manage it, because that's probably the best thing. And there are plenty of people that manage their mental health day to day and living their best life, and you know, they're pretty happy. They still struggle with mental health, but they know what steps to take when they are feeling their worst and things like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. Yeah, and just some things that you need to sort of put into place. But I like, Lady Jazz, that you're what's the word? You're not filtering it, and you are saying there's no way to erase the memories. You're absolutely right. You know, there are ways to try and deal with triggers, etc. But yeah, there is no way to erase the memories. They are going to be there. But you know, there are, as Sarah is saying, for lack of a better way to surmise it, there are ways to try and deal with it and still live the best life that you can live. It's not easy, but it has been achieved, and it's good to know that you can aim for something like that. That, you know, mental health doesn't have to completely stop you. But talking about it definitely helps. There's a great saying out there: "Problem shared is a problem halved." And I've found in my experience that when people are receptive to having a discussion, that's certainly the case. They may not necessarily understand what you're going through, and if that's the case and they're willing to listen, you know, feel free to explain it to them so they do have a better understanding. But yeah, Lady Jess says, I've helped dozens of people in their depression, seeing them come to a better place than they were, helped me see beauty in the bad. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I do too, and I'm definitely, you know, I like that kind of idea as well.
It's very true. When you do help people in that spot and then you see them doing better, yeah, I completely agree.
What helps me with my mental health, that I go through some brutal depression at times. Just the other day I was dealing with brutal depression. It was pretty bad. But I think it's made me more appreciative of the good days and the beauty, as you said, the beauty in the bad, or just the beauty in general of things. It has opened my eyes more and opened my mind more to sort of the small things in life. And, you know, I realize that I'm going to have times where I do deal with anxiety or really bad depression or suicidal ideation or suicidal thoughts. But, you know, I take it, you know, in those bad moments, I take each moment at a time and just let myself feel it, but just sort of guide my way through it, if that makes sense. And I do get through it, and I do have moments where I'm feeling more uplifted and lighter and better than what I had previously felt. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Annabelle Foster says, sorry?
An intense chat, guys.
Very much so. Very much so. It's not a light discussion. I'm
not going to lie and say this chat is easy for me, because it's not. This chat is pretty hard for me. I think it's hard for all of us, but yeah, I'm glad we're doing it.
Yeah, me too. And that's the only thing. Like, keep in mind, guys, that it is hard for all of us. And so if there's a moment where you hear myself or Sarah just taking a breath, forgive us. But definitely.
As well. We're not
definitely. Exactly right. But definitely the pros outweigh the cons. Like, this is a chat that needs to be had. So for me personally, I think Sarah will say the same, but for me personally, pushing through that barrier means a lot, because it's about getting this stuff out there and talking about it. It's taking that first step. I feel like this is a major step that we're taking, so that's good. And to all you guys who are here, thank you very much for being here and saying everything that you're saying. We are going to get through the comments, I promise you. I'm sorry we're behind, but because this is so serious, obviously there are times that we will discuss what's been brought up and then come back to it. So stay with us and we will get to your comments. Speaking of which, let's get to Annabelle Foster, who says, went through mental illness getting in the way, living a normal life. So I did CBT, otherwise known as cognitive behavioral therapy at the time. I hated it. I didn't think it was worth it. Felt like so much work for nothing. Began to realize that the point wasn't for the psych to solve everything for me. It was the case of reflection on myself, and it was about seeing certain things about myself from an outside perspective. It definitely didn't solve things, but completely, but it helped me learn about myself and use that knowledge to customize the way I deal with my issues personally.
Annabelle, I love that you said that, because that's exactly my experience with having cognitive behavioral therapy. And I thought the same thing. I thought, I don't know what the hell I'm doing here. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, what this all means. I feel like I'm not getting anywhere. And it really was a sort of a thing where I took the time to really look at things and, like you said, customize the way I deal with my issues personally. And I'm so glad that you said that, because a lot of people, I think, go through that kind of process. And sometimes they might go to therapy and then sort of then take some time to themselves to think about things and all that, and then maybe go back to therapy or structure how they want to do things and go about things. And it's a hard process. It's not like, that's another thing. It's not like you go to therapy and after 10 sessions you're cured. And there are some people that go to therapy for 10 sessions for certain issues, and that really does help them. But then there are other people that it takes them years and years and years
Absolutely.
to figure out what they're doing.
And I think sorry, go on.
Yeah, I'm one of those people. What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say, I think the most common thing when it comes to anyone that goes to therapy or anything like that for any given reason is the naivety and expectation that a therapist will draw out a magic wand and suddenly cure you on the spot. And that's not the case. I love how you've worded this, Annabelle Foster. I have to agree, saying that it helped you to learn about yourself and use that knowledge to customize the way you deal with your issues personally. That's absolutely right. I couldn't have put it any more succinctly myself. It is about how you deal with it yourself. But I'm glad you were able to deal with that, because for me, I tried doing CBT, getting counselling through CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, and it didn't really do much for me.
Me neither. It was a very weird process for me. It was a very weird thing to go through there. And, that's not saying that other people listening might not get the benefits from having cognitive behavioral therapy, because I think it's amazing. Yeah. It works wonders for some people. There's also another thing for some people called DBT, which is dialectical behavioral therapy, which is kind of like going back into your childhood and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That one to me is a bit weird as well. But these things work wonders for some people, and then for other people, it's a bit of a.
They just don't. No, you're absolutely right, absolutely right. And once again, there is no one size fits all, as much as that would be great. There are different types of. Well, I won't talk too much to the psychiatry and psychology side, but having studied counselling, there are many different types of counselling, and it's all about just discussing it with your counsellor and seeing what might work best for you. But in saying that, I'm really glad that it worked for you, Annabelle Foster. That's fantastic. Please don't think I'm saying that's not a good thing. I'm just saying it just didn't work for me, but it does work for some.
Yeah, as I said earlier, it didn't necessarily work for me either. I sort of took a more spiritual route to beginning to heal, and I'm nowhere there because I still deal with a lot of issues. But I find personally, and this is only a personal thing, I can't speak for anyone else, but developing spirituality, and I don't mean religion and whatever works for people, but it's not about religion or anything. It's just developing a spirituality within myself and within my life that has, to a degree, helped me. To a degree.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. I like that. All right, let's keep going, you guys. Lady Jazz says, yes, cognitive approach in psychology does wonders for people to structurally get back together. However, it's very big on labeling abnormalities. I personally wouldn't go for it, but I have definitely recommended it to other people because other people have different needs. Yeah, exactly. That's what we were saying.
I reiterated that, Jazz.
Yep. The approaches are cognitive, behavioral, psychodynamic, personality, and biology. Yep. And there are some more as well, but very good. Lady Jess says many approaches for many people going through different things, which is excellent. Very true. Once again, I just want to say hi to MC. I said hi before, but I'll say it again. Hi, MC. Thank you so much for being here. MC says, hi, everyone. I'm sorry I can't be here today. Oh, okay. MC's probably not here at the moment, but I will definitely watch later. I'll definitely watch later. It's such a good topic things we talked about. Don't forget to hydrate, Francois. Oh, thank you, MC. Well, if you are listening and this is later, then hi, MC, and we hope you're enjoying the chat.
Yeah, Francois, you better hydrate. I'm about to take a sip of water and hydrate as well.
No problems. You take a sip of water there, Sarah. I'll read out the next comment.
You go.
Sorry?
Read the next comment.
Read? Okay. Angels is saying hi to MC. Annabelle Foster says, it's still so different because every situation is so different. I hope in the future, young, fresh minds will continue to find better and better ways to help people live a better, more quality life. Yeah. Completely agree, Annabelle Foster. I hope so too.
And you know what I hope for the future as well is that they pay more attention to mental health. And like here in Australia, under Medicare, you only get 10 sessions of counselling, and I just don't think that that's enough.
No,
I just think there could be more involved in helping people deal with their mental health problems than go for 10 sessions and then you're done. And a lot of people can't afford to have more therapy than those 10 sessions under Medicare, in Australia at least.
Yeah.
I hope that there is more involved in that in the future, and as well.
I completely agree. Like, it's one thing if you choose for it to be, shortened. It's another thing because you're capped at a certain amount. That's what it is like here under our Medicare. If you do want to have shorter therapy, I would advise brief therapy. Brief therapy is pretty good. It's pretty quick. It's very direct and to the point. But brief therapy is generally used for people who don't have the time to do a lot of sessions at all. So I would only recommend that if it's your only option. Yep. All right. Do you want to hit the next comment?
Where are we up to? What did we just last read?
We just read. We read Annabelle's. Yep. So we're up to Lady Jazz's.
So Annabelle said hi to MC. Lady Jazz said also people don't differentiate between self-harm and suicide when they need to. They're two completely separate things coming from a psychological point of view.
Absolutely right. Self-harm is something that can happen during suicide, but they certainly are two separate things. Self-harm is something that someone can do when they're not committing suicide.
Where, for example, you can self-harm without the intention of taking it any further.
Yeah.
So I understand.
Absolutely. Totally. Yep, totally get what you're saying there. You're absolutely right. I know people who have self-harmed and it wasn't a suicide. There was no suicidal thing. It didn't have anything to do with suicide at all. So yeah, absolutely right. A good point to make.
Yeah. MC and Angels are saying hi to each other,
Yay!
having a little conversation.
Oh, that's lovely.
Lady Jess said, "I'm also trying hard to refrain from the words including psych because a lot of people associate it with bad connotations. I apologize in advance for anyone who has that opinion. Love you."
I'm sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, do you want to read over that?
Yeah, sorry. I'm also trying to hard to refrain from the words including psych because a lot of people associate it with bad connotations. I apologize next time who has that opinion. You're trying to refrain from using like the word psych itself. Is that what you're saying? Or do you mean from certain words, including psych, because of the bad connotations? Look, don't feel like you do need to refrain from using certain words. You can use them, Lady Jazz. I understand you're trying to be considerate, but you know we can absolutely be as open as we need to be. So if you feel that it's appropriate to use the term, feel free to do so. I'm sure people will understand, but thank you for telling us that anyway, and we love you too, Lady Jazz.
Yeah, we do. We do. It seems we've mostly gotten to the end of the comments. We won't stay around for too much longer. There are a few little things that we'll mention before the end. Before we go.
I just want to quickly thank my moderator, by the way. Thank you, moderator.
Thanks, moderator. Definitely.
I love you. Yep.
Always appreciate the hard work here. So I just wanted to quickly bring up. I'm not going to talk about this for too long, but I have been seeing a lot of mental health groups talking about a sort of crisis kit that I just wanted to bring up briefly. And so these crisis kits are things that you might put together a bunch of things in either a bag or a box and keep it in a safe place, and sort of bring it out when you're feeling suicidal or severely depressed or severely anxious or whatever, and help you in that situation. And so I spoke about it before with Francois. So Francois, what would you put in a crisis kit? And the general idea is things that would help you in a crisis or when you're feeling really bad. So do you have any ideas of anything that you would put in that kind of thing?
Yeah, so I would place some pictures in there, different pictures that meant different things to me. So I like looking at pictures in everyday life anyway because they do certain things for me. So I might put in something that I find to be really encouraging, or something that makes me feel really calm. Now, stereotypically, I might say a picture of a calm blue ocean. Now, it mightn't necessarily be that, but you get the idea of what I'm saying. I would definitely put some pictures in there that might, help emotionally with what I'm going through. I might also put things in that remind me of like fantastic times that I've had in the past. So maybe something special that happened, a great day out with friends. So if I have photos, or maybe I wrote a diary entry about it, something like that, to remind me that there are actually good things that I've experienced in my life. Because believe you me, it's when you're depressed, you're not really thinking about all the happy things in the world. So having happy reminders definitely help.
Yeah.
And some sort of list of things that make me laugh. So like, for example, I might write down lists of shows that get me in good moods, that make me laugh. Might even put a good book in there. I definitely put a rubber band in there as well. Just because I find they really help me. It's hard to explain why. It really is. Like I literally can't put in words, but sometimes it just helps.
I would definitely put in things that I could fidget with in my hand to distract myself. And I'm like that in general. I fidget with my hands a lot, regardless of what my emotional or mental state is. But there's fidget devices now that you can play with. Sorry if you hear it playing outside.
That's fine.
You know, rubber bands are good for that. Yeah, what
So
were you going to say?
no, so I was going to say part of the reason that I do that is one of the things that I have suffered from in the past is something called dermatillomania or exfoliation. Sorry, hard to say that. So basically what that means, since we're opening up, is it's the picking of one's skin. It's a mental issue. I didn't even know it was until recently, but having something to fidget helps. Fidget with helps. And different people who like suffer from all different mental mental health issues find that fidgeting things helps. And this was something that I did not know, like how much fidgeting was actually of a benefit to people until recently. I would see people playing with, what was that thing called, the fidget spinner or whatever?
Spinner, yeah.
Yeah, and I just thought that was like, I don't know, because everyone just thought it was nice and
Cool thing to play
yeah,
with. No,
and yeah.
it definitely helps. I have played with things like Play-Doh or you know, things I can squish. I know a lot of people like to play, yeah, like squishy things.
Or stress balls?
Yeah, stress balls, squishy things. I like Play-Doh because you can kind of squish it around in your hand.
Yeah.
Bubbles. I know these things might sound silly now, but I know when I have felt really messed up, it's not going to take away what you're dealing with, but it does sort of get you through it, just help you get through it.
Yeah.
I would put in positive quotes. I would put in a music. I mean, I have most of my music on my phone, but if I had a music player or an iPod or something, I would put that in.
Mm-hmm.
I would put my cat in there. No, I can't put my cat in there.
Yeah.
If you have a pet, turn to your pet when you're dealing with stuff because they're so therapeutic. Animals are amazing for these kind of things. I have read people putting in a list of their support circle of people and their phone numbers just to remind them that they do have support. You know, all those kind of little things that might, you know, coloring books and pencils, paint.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I like the idea of a crisis kit or a mental health kit or whatever you'd like to call it, that you can sort of get out and go to in times of need. I think they're really cool. The idea of them is really cool.
Yeah. It's a fantastic idea. It's honestly not something I would have thought of prior to you bringing it up, Sarah. But now that I think about it, I think everyone could probably do with something like that, whether you suffer from a mental health related issue or not. I think this is a fantastic idea to have something like this.
So that's
Yeah. I'd
Um,
love to know, and Sarah, please do go on. I just want to say, yeah, I'd love to know what you guys think. If you guys have heard of this, if you've done it, if you have, what you might put in yours, or if you decide to do it, what you might think of in yours. Let us know.
yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Sarah, go on.
Oh no, you're good. Whether you're listening now or if you're listening back later on, no one's commenting at the moment. We've come to the end of the comments, but
Oh,
yeah,
have we?
yeah, we have.
Oh.
Okay, more's come through. They've
Oh,
decided
Skylar's here. Hi, Skylar.
they all were a bit slow in coming through. Then sorry, guys.
Oh, there we go. No, all good. Lady Jazz says, I also have a website, by the way, where people can email me for advice or just for support. Also, it has music for therapy and some blogs to talk about issues, etc. Fantastic. That's wonderful. Lady Jazz says it's under reconstruction at the moment, but I'll put the link down when it's refurbished. That'd be great, Lady Jazz. Thank you.
Jazz, that's great.
Yeah. Okay. Skylar says, late to the party, but hey, Skylar. Thank you for being here. Sorry, just one minute. She says, for me, I have a clicking habit, like the Snapple cap that does a clicking sound or pen clicking. Yeah,
And
that's another one.
Really helpful. I mean, you know, it can be irritating at times when you're fidgeting with things, but if it's helpful, then do it.
Exactly
I
right.
used to click pens as well.
Yep. Yep. Same here. Annabelle Foster says, for anyone, my inbox is always open if you're struggling or feeling alone. Thank you, Annabelle
Lovely
Foster.
Annabelle Foster, and I would say the same for myself and Francois as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we all have dealt with our own personal things at times, but I know that personally, Francois and I are always open for people coming and personally inboxing us if you have anything you need to talk about, have any issues, struggling in some way, feeling upset, whatever it might be. We're
Yeah,
always here, especially if you have us on Facebook or if you're added on the Facebook group.
yeah.
Then yeah, we're always here as well.
Definitely. No, you guys have a couple of options. If you're not in the Facebook group, I mentioned a couple of times, and if you, for whatever reason, don't want to be a part of the group, that's totally fine. If you are on Facebook and you want to add me or Sarah, and you want to write to us on Facebook, then, that's an option as well. Or you could even just leave comments here in the video. More than happy to get back to you on that.
If you are and you want to be a part of the Facebook group, whether you're joining now or you're joining after, let us know and we'll give you the information.
Absolutely, we will. Before we go any further, I want to say hello and a big hello and welcome to Brittany. Thank you for joining us, Brittany. Good to see you at a couple of chats, Brittany. Very much appreciated. Thank you for being here. Now, Lady Jazz says, I love the idea of a crisis pack. Yeah, me too, Lady Jazz. This is pretty ingenious, actually. Can't believe I didn't know about it.
I think it's really good.
Brittany says hi to everyone, and everyone is saying hi to everyone. You can feel the love in the room. I know if you're listening back to this and you're not live at the moment, you can't see it, but take my word for it. There is love in this room right now for everyone. It is just very beautiful, you guys. I love reading it. So Brittany says, just wanted to contribute a bit to the mental health part. I've suffered with panic attacks and anxiety for almost 3 years now, and I don't think there's enough awareness about it. It changed my life dramatically, and it has taken years to learn how to cope with it, and just hope anyone going through something similar doesn't feel alone.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that you've been dealing with that, Brittany. I deal with pretty bad anxiety. I've had like pretty much high functioning anxiety, so I deal with, anxiety and panic attacks a lot as well, and it's definitely been hard. And I agree, there's not enough awareness about it. It is such a debilitating thing dealing with anxiety, and people don't understand why people deal with anxiety, why it is, how it is, and I definitely think that's something that needs to be spoken about as well in general.
Yeah.
Because it's such, as I said, such a debilitating thing to deal with. I know how debilitating it can be. Some people deal with, mild anxiety. And then there are people like me and a lot of other people that have like severe anxiety at times. Like while we're talking about it, mine can get to the point where I'm feeling weak, I'm feeling dizzy, I feel like I can't walk, I feel absolutely in fear. Like it's horrible. So I'm so sorry that you have to deal with that.
Yeah, me too. I also suffer from anxiety, but it's not as severe. I'd probably say it's more like mild to medium anxiety, heart racing, shortness of breath, that kind of thing.
Friends are just as debilitating, regardless
Oh,
of
yeah.
what scale it's on. Yeah.
True. But I actually wanted to make a specific point because we can absolutely talk about anxiety, considering that you and I both, even though it's at different levels, we both go through it. But I wanted to pick up on the point that you're making here, Brittany, about panic attacks and how there's not enough awareness about it. You're absolutely right. I have not suffered a panic attack, but I have been around people who have when they have. And for me, I would like to know a lot more about it personally. So coming from that other side of the fence, I think there definitely needs to be a lot more awareness made about it, and there needs to be a lot more discussion about it. The first couple of times I saw people having a panic attack, I had no idea what to do, and it really freaked me out.
Yeah, I think the point is like people not knowing what to do in that situation. They either kind of blasé laugh it off, you'll be fine, or they freak out as well, and both of those things don't really help in the situation. Yeah, so
Absolutely.
more
Um,
awareness would be helpful for everyone dealing with that or knowing someone that deals with that.
Very scary. I feel so bad for anyone that does suffer from it. But also at the same time, for those who don't know what to do when someone's suffering from it, it's
Well,
an
there are
interesting
people that deal
situation.
with panic attacks where, they're freaking out, but they sort of get themselves through it. And then there are times, and I'm not comparing because, panic
Mhm.
attacks, anxiety in general is just horrible no matter what level
Yeah,
it's on. But then there are
yeah,
some people that deal with panic attacks that are winding up in hospital because it's that intense. And
yeah.
I've had that panic attack where my heart is racing so fast that I felt like I was having a heart attack or something because it was that intense of a feeling. Um, I found some really, really good, and I know it doesn't take away the anxiety, but I found an app on the Play Store for Android, but you can probably get it on the Apple Store as well. I can't remember what it's called, so I might add that in after, get Francois to add that in. But it's really good because there's audios there that you can listen to when you're dealing with severe anxiety. And she kind of does this thing where she talks through the audio and she just keeps reminding you that the physical responses of anxiety are normal. It's your body's way of reacting, and that it will calm down and that nothing bad will happen. I really like this audio because it is just very reassuring when you are freaking out.
Oh,
Um,
good. Yes, we'll definitely add it.
yeah, no, sorry.
Yeah, I said, oh, good. We'll definitely add it
Yeah,
if we
yeah.
can.
If we can. Otherwise, just look up anxiety relief or something. But I'll try and find the name of that specific one. Because I like that she explains the physical feelings that you're feeling during anxiety, because that's part of anxiety as well. It's not just the things that you're anxious about, but the
Yeah,
feelings that you feel
yeah,
when you're anxious, which then builds
absolutely.
on top of it. So if I can find it, I'll add it in after, guys.
Great. And just quickly, while I'm thinking about it, I also wanted to mention the paralytic attack. Um, so the paralytic attack is only something that I've seen a couple of times in my life. I have never experienced it, but it's basically where an attack gets so bad that you freeze and you literally can't move. Whether
Yeah.
you want to scream out or anything, you can't move.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's very scary. My mum has actually experienced it quite a few times, and it freaks me out when it happens. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that to the forefront as well while we're mentioning panic attacks on all different levels. It's something that people need to know about because it is so scary, I am sure, for the person going through it. And it is certainly scary for the person that's on the outside having no idea what's going on. And the longer we have all of this information kept in the dark, the worse off everyone's going to be in that
Yeah,
situation.
exactly. And I'm glad that you brought that up. The sort of, as we both said, the varying levels of anxiety and panic attacks, and how it can affect not only the person dealing with it, but then the people around them, not knowing what to do in that situation, being worried, being scared. And yeah,
Yeah.
talking about it, I guess, is the only way to get the awareness out there of what you can do in that situation or how it might feel.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm glad that you
Uh,
brought it up. Thank you for bringing it up, even though it's horrible that you deal with it, that I deal with it, that
yes.
Francois deals with it, and many other people. But I'm glad you brought it up anyway.
Yeah, much, much appreciated. Thank you, Brittany. We've got a few more comments from Brittany. Brittany says, you're so right. I often pass out because the anxiety gets too much. My school isn't very understanding either, so hearing you both relate makes a big difference.
I'm glad it makes a difference, Brittany. I really am.
Thanks, Brittany.
You're not alone in it. You're really not. I don't know if we can offer anything to take it away because we can't, but we can offer our understanding, and that's, I think, a good place to start.
She says, I remember actually the first time I told people, many actually laughed. A lot don't understand what happens inside. To put it bluntly, it often feels like dying.
It's a physical response. It is your body literally going into the fight or flight mode. And, like, I think most people that know about anxiety know about the fight or flight and all that kind of thing. Your body's
Yeah,
preparing for something bad, your body's preparing to fight or to run away.
Yeah.
Anxiety is something, as we all know, our ancestors dealt with in relation to, like, oh, there's a bear. My body needs to know how to react, whether I need to fight or run away. So
Yeah.
a sort of physical response to the idea of threat. But now anxiety has taken its own form in a completely different way nowadays. Um, so I guess getting educated about it, whether you deal with it or you know someone that deals with it or you don't know someone that deals with it, is a good start. Figuring out, because there are a lot of people that don't think anxiety is real, but when you actually look at what anxiety actually is, it's very real.
Yeah.
You know, it's a
Yeah.
physical response in your body. So yeah, we do understand.
Yes, we do, definitely.
That's quite intense, isn't it?
So yeah, very, very much so. Brittany says there's an app called Headspace where you can do exercises and helps you find ways and techniques. Just quickly before we go into that, bringing it up, thank you very much for doing so. There's a wonderful company in Australia called Headspace.
I've been to
Yeah.
Headspace.
Sorry?
I have been to Headspace.
Oh, wonderful. I haven't been there myself, but I know someone who has.
I think
And
it's
yeah.
up to 25 years old. So if you're 25 and under,
Yeah.
you can go to Headspace for counselling services, psychiatrist and psychologist services, and
Yeah.
everything else.
Yeah, so they're fantastic. So if you are in Australia, I would recommend that. I don't know if they're around the world, but just wanted to mention that while Brittany mentions the word Headspace, but Brittany is herself referring to an app called Headspace, where you do exercises and helps you find ways and techniques. That sounds
Yeah,
interesting.
thank you for
There you
sharing that.
go.
That means that anyone that listens back to this or is listening now and needs to look that up and it might help them.
Yeah.
I just found the app um, that I was talking about. It's called Stop Panic and Anxiety Self Help, and it's by a company called Excel at Life.
Yeah.
I'll get Francois to put that in either the description or the comments after this video is uploaded, so that if you want to check it out, you can.
Yep. Absolutely. And Brittany is saying thank you to both of us so much. You're very welcome, Brittany. Anytime you want to have a chat, we're here for you.
Definitely.
So yeah, feel free. It's tough to be in a world, and when I say world, I mean in the surroundings we have. It's tough to be in a world where people just don't understand, and as I say, like they laugh and other things. Like it's just very tough. Sometimes it is just about talking to people who understand. So anytime, Brittany, happy to talk about it. Okay, guys. I don't know if there's anything else you guys would like to say. We're not going to be on for much longer, probably about 5 or so more minutes, just letting you know. We sort of just need to wind things up because it is approaching 1 a.m. over here. But this has been a really good chat. As Lady Jazz says, she predicted it to be the best chat ever. I feel like definitely this has been a fantastic chat, you guys. And considering that normally the chats we do are quite light-hearted with shows and other things, taking this very serious chat and dealing with it the way that we have, I want to thank you guys for being a part of it because it's been a really good experience.
And I'm so glad that I got to join in as well and give my understanding of things. Because I was happy to do it, and I'm glad that people are getting something out of this. As Francois said, when him and I do chats together, it is much more lighthearted than this. We're usually having a laugh, being silly, and
Yeah.
chatting about whatever we happen to chat about. But this is something that we both decided, look, we're going to take a moment and have this chat because it is important.
Very much so. Very much needed. Brittany says, I have so much respect for you doing these chats. These mean a lot to all of us.
Aww.
Thank you, Brittany.
And Lady Jazz said, I predicted this would be the best chat ever, XXX. Thanks, Lady Jazz and Brittany. That's so nice.
Yeah, thank you both of you. Thanks to all of you guys that are here. It is a serious chat. It is a chat with potential triggers. So it's not the easiest of things to talk about. But in saying that, sorry.
It's not the easiest thing, even for us as
Yeah.
hosting this chat. It was quite I mean, we both actually, I mean, we should be honest, we did deal with a
Yeah.
little bit of anxiety because it is such
Absolutely.
in-depth topic to talk about, and we both
Yes.
wanted to do our best on it. So we got a little bit of anxiety, worrying that we wouldn't do our best, and that yeah, but I think we've done well. I think that people have gotten something out of this, so I'm really happy that we just went ahead with it and just
Absolutely. And I think, you know, one thing that's evident that we can take away from this chat is that it is needed. Yeah, I've definitely had moments of mild anxiety within the chat, I must say. But despite that, it's worth it in these situations because this is something that needs to be discussed. And if this is like step one in a million steps of getting it out there till we can get to the point that discussions on suicide and mental health issues become just a standard thing, then it will all have been worth it. We really need to normalize this.
Yeah, we do. And I just wanted to say thank you to you, Francois, for actually saying that you have dealt with anxiety and other mental health things, and even anxiety throughout this chat, because I think it's good for both of us who are holding this chat to be honest about some of the things we deal with, so that people know that they can talk about it and be honest about what they've dealt with or do deal with as well. So I'm glad that you have mentioned some of the things that you've struggled with.
Oh, thank you. No, I appreciate it. And right back at you, Sarah. Thank you for mentioning things that you've struggled with also. I think, yeah, like for sure, like there are certain things that we that we talk about from a theory point of view, for example, like shows and other things that I might do on this channel. But I definitely think in this case, especially if I go through something while the chat's happening, it's beneficial to mention it to you guys. And so saying, okay, just so you know, yeah, I sort of dealt with some anxiety during the chat. It's very normal to happen. But it's definitely very worth it. Thank you for acknowledging that, Sarah. That actually means a lot. Skylar says, it was interesting to go back and read everyone's experiences and just to bind it together. Yeah, so I'm assuming, yeah, Skylar went back and read everything. Yeah, very interesting. It was a very interesting discussion. Thank you for being a part of it and for being here for it. Yeah.
Before we forget, just quickly, before we forget, we have actually included suicide hotlines for different countries in the world in the description bar. I went and looked up worldwide suicide hotlines. So if you want that information, if you want to know the suicide hotline for your country or for a friend or just for reference, it is in the description bar, I think. Yes.
It is, yeah.
Yes, in the description bar for you there, just before I forget to mention that.
No, you did really well with that. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, there are a lot of different countries there, you guys, so you're definitely covered in that list.
I'm not sure about other services, but that's definitely a start for anyone that's in a crisis and does need that,
Yeah,
so
definitely. What I do want to say before we end this, first of all, I want to say thank you, Sarah, for getting that information. I think I speak on behalf of everyone when I say that. It's very much appreciated. We never know. I mean, you guys may not know about this stuff, so very, very much appreciated. Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome. Thank you.
What was I going to say? Yeah, that's right. This chat, if you are part of the Facebook group, you would know this. If you weren't, I'm going to explain it to you. This suicide mental health issues chat was meant to be a standalone chat. However, if you guys wanted to, in general, just have chats where we just bring this up and talk about how we're doing, especially since the majority of us that are here at the moment have admitted that we have something that we deal with or another. If you guys want to have random chats where we talk about these sorts of things and how we're doing and all that, I'd be more than up for that. I think this chat has proven to me that I feel like I can talk to you guys about the struggles that I'm having, and you guys have been able to talk about what you're going through. So if you guys wanted to do others, just leave a comment below and let me know, and I'll see what I can put together. I can't promise it'll happen every week, but if you guys really feel the need for it, I'll certainly see what I can do.
Yeah, I think that encouraging people to talk, even if it's not once a week, every so often, is definitely a positive thing. So, yeah, as Francois said, leave a comment in the comment section, and yeah, we'll look into it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, you guys. Well, we're at 2-1. So I will say,
One last
sorry.
comment.
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead.
One last comment that said, that and Skylar's a certified. This is Skylar's comment. That and Skylar's a certified listener, supporter, and talker. I'm all ear for any and everyone. So, thank you, Skylar, for saying that.
That's
Lovely.
excellent, Skylar. I very much appreciate that. And well, see, one of the great things is, so a couple of people have said that they're happy to talk to you guys within this chat. And one of the great things about it is that obviously Sarah and I are from Australia. I think Annabelle Foster is as well from Australia. Skylar's from America. The reason I mention this is because of the time zones. So there might be times when Sarah and I are asleep and Skylar's available or something. So if you really need to talk to someone, there's always going to be someone here, which is good to know.
And as you said, if you do want to be a part of the Facebook group and you're not already, leave a comment and we'll give you the information. We might even put it in the description bar.
Yeah.
And, you can. The only thing that's required is that you put your YouTube username in there, so we know that you are a genuine person requiring to join the group, requesting to join the group. Other than that, it's all good. So let us know, but we might leave the information anyway.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So it'd be great to have you there, and if you'd like to, that'd be great. Once again, reiterating what Sarah's saying, if you could leave your there's a question that pops up if you register saying what is your YouTube name, so you just have to answer it in the space provided, because we don't want to be filled with spam or anything like that. I'm sure you guys can understand. All right, so it is 1 o'clock, so we're going to wrap things up here. Now, let me take a very quick squiz at what is happening tomorrow night. Because we do have another chat coming up tomorrow. And I'm sorry, you guys, I'm just going to let the internet do its whirly thing. You know what I mean, the whirly thing. Okay.
Whirly thing.
Do you remember back in the old days, or if people still use Explorer, I don't know if it's the case, where there was the world ball and it would turn every time the page loaded?
Yeah.
That's what let me know. Cool. All right, you guys. So if you're not in the Facebook group, I just wanted to let you guys know what the proposal for this week. So just very quickly, thank you again for joining us. Tomorrow night, 11:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, we are having a 17th victim chat. For those of you who've seen my videos on 17th victim, I'm starting to write a mystery book. And so we're going to be talking about that. So that will happen tomorrow night. Wednesday night, we're going to be having a spiritual moments chat, which is going to be fun. We're going to do a few readings live on the air, so come along for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thursday at 11:30, we're doing a Riverdale chat and theories chat, so come along for that one as well. Friday, we're doing a Wicca supernatural stuff chat. And on Saturday, I cannot believe I'm saying this, at 11:30, we are doing a Pretty Little Liars once-off final goodbye chat. So it's just a once-off, and we can talk about it all at once and get it completely out of our system. And then on Saturday, we may do another Spiritual Moments chat. We'll see how we go. But there is the full list, just in case you're not part of the Facebook group and wanted to know what was coming up. If you have not subscribed, please do so, and hit the notification bell, as I like to say, ding, to get all the notifications and to ensure that you don't miss any of the chats that you might like to come to. But once again, I want to...
Sorry, always keep an eye out for live impromptu chats, because they do happen and they're not planned. So keep an eye out, because they may happen at any point at any time.
That is a very good point, Sarah. Definitely keep an eye out for live chats. You never know what you're going to stumble across when you're keeping an eye out for an impromptu chat. So I definitely recommend checking them out. If you have time, jump right into an impromptu chat, because they're always fun. And we never know what's going to happen, do we?
No, never do. But it's always, it's always fun. Usually a lot of laughs. And a lot of fun.
Exactly right. All right, guys. Well, that's it for us. Thank you once again, everyone, for joining us. I'd like to give a big thank you to our Sydney correspondent, the wonderful Sarah. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for letting me come along and talk about stuff.
Oh, absolutely. It was great to have you here. Definitely wouldn't have been the same without you. As Lady Jazz says, love you guys. Bye-bye. Bye, Lady Jazz. And thanks to everyone. Thanks to everyone who came. I realise that there may be issues with time zones and stuff, but the planned chats for the rest of the week will be at 11:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, so just adjust accordingly. And if you can make it, great. And if you can't and you watch it back delayed, that's absolutely fine too. Love to all of you guys. Make love, not war, and give someone you love a big old hug today. Bye, guys.
Bye.